Have you ever gone on a date with someone and they couldn't just stop talking about themselves or just couldn't stop talking? All it was about them, 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 them. And you're thinking to yourself during the middle of the conversation, you're like, why aren't they asking me a question? Why aren't they inquisitive? Why aren't they seeking to get to know me? And if you've ever found yourself in that position, you might have asked yourself, is this a red flag? Well, I'm here to tell you, abso-fucking-lutely yes. Now, before we look at, this dynamic, first off, red flag merely means ask more questions, okay? Because there's a big difference between a deal breaker, which is kind of a no, versus a red flag. Red flag means ask more questions. Now, I will tell you that if you talk to other dating coaches, the canned response about why someone might only be talking about themselves is that they're nervous, that they're afraid, that they're scared, that blah, 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 whatever the reason is, okay? And I can understand that. And when someone's talking about themselves, they're in their either fear or ego. Let me repeat that. They're either in fear or in ego, which is really, fear is within ego, okay? And it can be very frustrating when you're on a date with someone when this happens. And you might literally begin to say, oh my God, this person is annoying. They're driving me nuts. And the voices that starts going on inside your head is your own ego wishing this person was different. So if you've ever found yourself in this kind of situation, I want you to first, or is it first? Let's go first. I'd like you to have compassion. This person is in fear. They're in their ego. They are not capable in this particular moment to know how to do the dance of communication. And I say the dance of communication because communication should look like a seesaw. You're taking turns. I mean, some people talk about the tennis match. You're volleying back and forth. But that's the way effective and good communication is it's an exchange of ideas. It's being inquisitive, trying to get to know the other person and learning a sense of timing where you've communicated for 2 minutes and then you offer it up for the other person for 2 minutes and then they offer it up for you to 2 minutes. And it can be 2 minutes, it can do 3 minutes, it can be 8 minutes. I think more than a couple minutes sharing something and not offering it back to the other person and learning this dance, I think when it's longer, it can just seem kind of monotonous. So I'm just suggesting that. So what's happening is, and I'm going to go back to that piece of compassion, if you find yourself criticizing that person, I want to challenge you to approach it a different way. I want to challenge you to seek compassion, to be in a state of love. And they may not be the right partner for you, and that's okay too. Because truthfully, if you're seeking a more evolved, aware, conscious relationship, that person's automatically going to know the dance, that volley, that seesaw of communication. And you can have a little bit of fun with it, okay? So if you find yourself in one of those situations, then turn it around. And here's a couple ideas. And you might interrupt the person, sorry, that was kind of blunt or abrupt. Interrupt the person by saying, hey, look, since this is a date, is it okay if we, play a little game to get to know one another? Are you game for a little game of getting to know one another? And ask some unusual questions to actually get to know the other person. Now, one thing that I've done on dates, and this has usually happened when there's synergy going on between us, as an opportunity to get to know one another, I'd say something like, hey, you've got a free question. You can ask me whatever you want. It's a free question. Now, that might be a lot because some person might go really bold on the kind of question they ask, and it might cross a boundary of privacy. So I get that might not be for everyone. It works for me because I have nothing to hide. I'm very transparent, open, so I'm okay with that. And I'm looking for that kind of open, transparent, vulnerable person. So for me, that works. But you might want to try something a little different that actually allows you get to know the other person. And the question might be something like this. What did you learn about yourself in your past relationship? And let me tweak this a little bit. What positive thing did you learn about yourself in your past relationship? And I'd be open to sharing the same thing if you're interested in sharing that with me. This is a very powerful question to go deeper into what's happened in this person's life from a dating perspective, and to see how open they are to a new relationship. Because if they're either coming from the place of victimhood or victor, let me repeat that, victimhood or victor. Anyone that can answer that question from a place of victor, in other words, takes personal responsibility for their choices and comes at it from a positive perspective, that's a great sign that this person might be capable of being in a fully committed relationship. It's a great question to ask. A couple follow-up questions would be, what were the good parts of your last relationship and what are you most grateful for? What were the good parts of your last relationship and what are you most grateful for? Because if someone can look at their past relationship with gratitude, that's a great sign that they're healthy enough, or at least can be healthy enough to be in a relationship, a fully committed relationship. Okay, so let's go back to this original thing. Is it a red flag when someone's talking too much about themselves? Abso-fucking-lutely. And my invitation for you is, rather than to have judgment or criticism about this person, just shift to compassion. Because most people are good people. They're just bad daters, and they're bad at communicating. Does that mean you write the person off? Maybe. I don't know. You got to kind of feel your way through that. I certainly would encourage you to try to shift the conversation and make it more interesting and lively. You've got nothing to lose. And if you don't feel like seeing the person again, then don't. You should only pursue something where it feels like a hell yes instead of a maybe or a hell no. If it's a hell no, it's a no. If it's a maybe and you've got to convince yourself to see someone again, that's not going to be too exciting. It should feel like a good yes. And if that person was so into themselves, then maybe they're just not the right person for you. Let someone else get that person. And that's my invitation for you. All right. Some people might criticize what I have to say. Some might agree. I'd love to hear your comments. Post it below. If you found value in what I share, I invite you to go to my website, jonathanaslay.com. If you'd like to ask me questions directly, I have an amazing program called Midlife Love Mastery. Hit the group coaching program on my website, and you get to ask me daily questions where I answer them via video, just like I am right now. And if you'd like to go deeper and want to talk to me privately, then click the other button to learn about working with me privately. Again, I hope you found value in this video. And like I do with every video, I'd like to send you off with a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug, if I have your consent. Wishing you a super duper wonderful day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.